Hi again, welcome back to episode 3 of Camera, Community Marketing, Engagement, Resources, and Advocacy.
Today, we're going to be talking with WWU Marketing alumni and faculty about representation and belonging in the wider marketing world.
These experienced marketers have had lots of involvement in the marketing program, and it was great to talk with them. Stay tuned to hear what they have to say.
When it comes to talking about representation and support in the marketing program, our first 2 videos only covered student input. A missing voice in these videos are faculty and alumni. To start off with faculty, they represent an important voice as they are often a bridge between students and alumni. And there's an issue that many students don't feel comfortable or put in the effort to talk to faculty outside of classes. However, marketing faculty provide so many resources for students that shouldn't go unnoticed, so we wanted to go speak to some.
Hi, today I'm here with
Dan Purdy.
Baruch Safavi.
What resources do you recommend underrepresented students use to find a sense of belonging?
Yeah, I think what we need to do is come together. I think that when we think about belonging and we think about inclusion and how inclusion can help belong, I think what we have to do is get closer together and break down the silos. And I'm not so sure that's resources as much as it is engagement. And so I think about it a little bit differently, and I try to bring into the classroom and outside of the classroom an ethos of how do we break down the walls and get people working together, talking together, sharing together, experiencing together, and not fall prey to the idea that there's going to be some piece of technology that's going to do it. We're the technology. Like, that's the thing. Like, human beings are the technology.
Primarily their classmates, and then a larger student body at Western.
So what do you, as a faculty member, want to see change in the marketing department?
I think that if marketing had a space where all the marketers could be, and that's, I think of it like a lab, but in one way it's like a clubhouse, right? And then marketers have a badge, they can badge in and they can badge out, they can work together. We have people getting together across where they are in the program, because right now we have this issue of silos where a cohort comes into 381 and 382 and then they kind of stay together because they march through and they don't necessarily meet other people. And we got to think, like, how do we get outside of these silos and get where we can meet other people?
I believe the department has done everything it can to provide as much as the student body needs. I think one of the things that you could do is that you create a website, especially for a student body, and express your opinion, your concern in that chat room to all members of the faculty of the marketing department.
So how have you, as a faculty member, helped students evolve their marketing skills?
What I try to do is put students in the driver's seat so that we're not simply talking about marketing, but we're practicing marketing. And that's a very uncomfortable place, I think, for students to be, because it's easy to talk about, but harder to do. And so I think about it in the term of, like, I want my students to learn how to walk the talk that then they gain confidence from.
My teaching approach is practical. So I teach theories immediately followed by how to apply that theories to the reality. Second, I give several projects for the students to do, majority of them on how to carry out marketing functions. Third, I encourage them to get some kind of jobs, part-time jobs at the organizations which work in the same field that my students would, after graduation, they want to have.
How do you feel about representation in the marketing industry?
But I think in general, we don't have an industry that mirrors the population, for lots and lots of reasons that are way deeper than I think anything we can tackle. But I think, what I try to do is to get students of all kinds of walks of life and all kinds of backgrounds interested. If you're interested, you'll want to learn. If you don't care, you'll never go anywhere, right?
It depends on the personality of the underrepresented students. Some of them are so rejuvenated, some so exciting that whenever they apply for any marketing job, their employers grab them. Some of them, unfortunately, not. This is. And representation, I think, is not based so much on the established prejudices, which it was in the past and fading away, but it still is some.
Now that we heard from some marketing faculty, we'll now go hear from an early career alumni, Rebecca Andrews, and executive alumni, Brian Scowcroft, both of whom were still involved with WWU's marketing program.
Hi, I'm here with
Brian Scowcroft.
Rebecca, how does your identity play in your current career?
So I think there's obviously a long-standing history of discrimination and oppression in the United States, especially with people of color. And I personally don't resonate with that struggle strongly, but I think it's important to recognize that many people do. And I was very blessed to have a mother to show me that no matter who I am or what I look like, I can aspire and accomplish any of the dreams that I want to.
I think that the thing that I would say is like authenticity matters. So you always want to like show up being your like natural, normal, regular self. And ideally you would have like a workplace that allowed you to be that. You can market to, maybe you're directing marketing to like an Asian community or a Black community or something like that, but doesn't mean you have to like tokenize them. You can just treat them like regular living people. You don't have to be like, hey, I'm marketing to people of color now. You can just do it. You can talk to them. They're regular people.
So has your sense of belonging changed from as a student to where you are as a current marketer?
I think I've never felt a sense of I didn't belong in the marketing program. I knew that I wanted to make connections when I got into my major, so I went to SMA and I made friends there, and I connected with professors who helped me out in my career.
I would say this. Short answer, no. I never felt underqualified, I guess. But to speak out of both sides of my mouth a little bit, I would say like imposter syndrome is a real thing. And speaking of backgrounds and forming the way people are, like my high school environment wasn't necessarily one where I felt like I could show up authentically. I was one of 3 Black males in my graduating class in high school, and I went to a big high school, and I felt like I was treated differently by faculty, like they'd had lower expectations of me. I never felt that way at Western, and I also have like really high like self-confidence, so I showed up there and like I can figure this out, I can do this, and I'm like I know I'm gonna do what I have to do and work hard enough to do it. My sense of belonging was always pretty strong at Western, and once I left there, it was kind of like finding a workplace that's like felt that its values aligned with my own.
So what aspects of marketing do you think current students should be focusing on?
Yeah, so last week I filed to be a sole proprietor, and so I actually have my own business now. I have a marketing agency, and so in IMC with Dan Purdy, we created our own businesses. So right now I am building on that, and I'm trying to find what my story is in my personal life, so that way I can connect it to my marketing agency and then help figure out what services I can offer to other clients. So I would say that students should focus on finding their story, especially that emotional component of it that can help drive their brand forward.
This is probably a more broad answer than you get from somebody else. Technically, my job at Nordstrom is more like merchandising and assortment planning than marketing. I would say that what I use marketing for a lot is understanding how brands interact with customers. For example, I have to be aware of what is the brand that Nordstrom wants to have and how does it want to show up publicly, and also how do the brands that we work with, like what are their values, what is their target market, how do they want to show up for customers, and kind of making sure that like any relationship we build with a brand makes sense for both. Like customer behavior is a big one, for me. So like really kind of getting a sense of how important it is to genuinely understand the customer that you're working with, and also just understand like the brand values of like brand that you're working for, the brands that you're partnered with, etc., and understanding like how they show up and what their synergies are between the customers.
How do you feel about representation in the marketing industry?
So I've only been in a couple of professional marketing environments, so I don't have a lot of information to go off to say how I feel about the whole industry. But I can say from what I've seen, there's definitely room to grow. And I think as the population continues to blend, that the marketing industry is going to have no choice but to diversify their marketers so that they can create more authentic relationships and voices for their audience.
I don't necessarily feel like representation in any industry is good enough. That makes sense. To elaborate on that, like, maybe there's a lot of people of color if you go into a Nordstrom store or something like that, or maybe there's people a lot of different backgrounds, like LGBTQ people, etc. But like, ideally, all of those people's lifestyles and perspectives and life experience matter, and so the presence of them in general is fine to an extent, but like you want to have that represented at all levels of your company.
What was your favorite class as a student marketer?
Yeah, I am very biased. Out of the 4 electives you could take, I only took 2. I took digital marketing and I took IMC with Dan Purdy 3 times. I started off as a content creator and worked my way up to managing director. And I built my brand in IMC. I've always wanted a brand, so doing that in dance class was very helpful. A lot of the lessons I learned were from IMC. The importance of networking, but also with networking, building authentic relationships and helping others to feel a sense of belonging.
I think I like different things about different ones. I liked the project that I did for IMC. I think I still have it to this day because it was a lot of work and I was pretty proud of the outcome. I was a big fan of the innovations class because it made me think about things differently and understand like different product offerings differently. But also even there, I took a brand management class from Ann Stone, who's on the advisory board now, and that was a super helpful class in understanding just like the importance of consistency and branding and how like it also has to be consistent at all levels of the company. You can't be outward facing one way and inward facing a different way, and like all the cohesion and connection actually matters, and that helps understand a lot of things about how products are offered to the public and like understanding what a commercial is trying to tell you and what it's trying to communicate. So I think it's all really interesting. There's a lot of different components to it.
Hearing from alumni and acknowledging them is important as it creates connections with students. No matter the stage of the career, alumni provide a perspective as someone who's gone through the process and help students build a network. Another big aspect in alumni outreach is giving donations to the marketing program on Give Day, this year being on April 25th. Give Day helps fund scholarships, which goes back to helping students succeed in their education. Thank you for watching the 3rd episode of Camera.
Special thanks to all the people we interviewed in this video and all the alumni and faculty.
Stay tuned for our next video. We're going to be discussion together. Make sure to catch it.
And also check out Viking Vision on our YouTube page for more content like ours.
Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video.